morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Architects of Law. One and only weekly podcast where two fast again cousins sit around, discuss the age-old art of storytelling. And at the end, we're coming up with part 3 of our Cosmic Void franchise. But I'm your host, Zach, a.k.a. Z-Town TV. That's my co-host slash co-cousin, Devo City, a.k.a. Devin. Devin, how are you this fine evening? I hate your shirt.
My shirt is amazing. Tuna, no crust.
Where'd you get that? The Tic Tac shop?
The tuna sucked yesterday. The tuna's going to suck tomorrow. Tuna, no crust. I'm doing all right, you know? Doing okay.
You didn't answer me. Did you get that on the TikTok shop or what?
You asked me 2 questions. I was answering your first question first.
You can answer them in sequential order.
I got this at the, everyone knows we got this. Where you think I got this? The store that gives you everything that I don't want to put their name out. You know who I'm talking about.
Aldi's?
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out
It's
Aldi's.
a great shirt. Great shirt. I was looking up Fast and Furious shirts. I was trying to get a Too Fast, Too Furious shirt. It wasn't going to get there in time. So I ordered this. But me is back. I felt like we should, bust out the line that started it all, right? Tuna, no crust.
It's true. Have you worn that outside of your house yet?
This is the first time I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it. This is the premiere for the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I'm wondering if you go out into the real world with this shirt on and somebody comments on it, is that your new best friend?
I mean, I definitely see an equal because they know good.
An equal? Do you normally think people are beneath you?
What do you mean? I mean like equal.
You just said it equal.
I don't mean. That's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I mean like a contemporary.
Okay, contemporary.
I don't know if we're going with friends straight away, but like
a fellow fast head. Is that what they call each other, or is it furious?
I don't know. You tell me because I think you're probably entrenched right now.
Okay.
Before we get into it,
the Furious Gang, the Fast Heads, Gearheads, Busters. Are we Busters?
No, that's definitely a bad word.
Oh, can we call other people who don't like FF Busters?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know because I've run into several who are like, "You're doing the Fast and the Furious franchise? What?
Just call them a buster.
You're a buster.
Oh, get out of here, buster!
Get out of my life." That was a fantastic TikTok that did not perform as well because I uploaded it on Sunday. Apparently Sunday is a dead zone for that type of stuff. But go back and watch it, our lore list video.
You gotta watch Conan, man. You gotta watch Conan. Never say anything's bad, It's all about giving the best show, so we got the best show.
I didn't say this was bad. I didn't say anything was bad.
You said something was bad.
I said it underperformed because of the algorithm. Go watch it. It's a funny talk. That's where it's the lore list talk where Devin describes how he will meet his perfect woman. There it is. There's a tease. Go watch it. It's on YouTube Shorts. All right. Is that okay?
This part in the bloopers.
Okay? No, you will not. This is in the main show. Main show.
We'll see.
I'll make it short. I'll make it a short. You can't stop me.
That's not main show.
How are you, Devin? Let's get into golf talk with Architects of Lore. Devin, have you been golfing?
No, I have a tee time for Sunday. I'm very excited. We're going to the executive course, unfortunately, but I haven't been golfing in a while.
What is the executive course? What does that mean?
It's just, there's no par fives. It's
okay.
Much shorter, par 60, it's a short course.
Is this the one where you told me that you got an 80? And you're like, I got an 80 at a par 70. And then you looked it up, you're like, it was a par 60.
You don't got to bring that up every time, You don't.
But it's funny.
You don't. How'd you do golfing last week, huh? Yeah,
we already talked about it. It's a talk that came out today. You can go watch it at Architects of the Lore on TikTok and YouTube. Also on X at Archalore. And Instagram at Architects of the Lore.
All right, stop. I got to do something every time you do that.
All right, well, your tee time's for Sunday.
Yeah.
Who are you going with? Have you been
I'm
out to
going
a
with
range
Ryan,
since?
Scott, and Taylor. What? You gonna let me answer the questions you ask, or are you gonna keep asking me questions?
You gotta
Let
wait
me
till I
answer the
finish
question.
asking the questions.
No, because this is the third time you've done it. You just ask a question. I go to and you ask me another question. Let me answer the question. I'm going with Scott, Ryan, and Taylor. What was your other question? I didn't hear you because I was answering your first
Have you
question.
been to the range, Devin?
No, I haven't. They closed that down.
A range?
No.
Okay.
It was raining in LA over the weekend. I wasn't here for a week, and it's Tuesday, so I have not,
All right. Well, I'm just saying, I understand you're in mourning because they shut
Exactly. And
down
you keep
wedding
bringing
dates.
it up. You're like, did you play
No.
golf? Did you go to the range? You know exactly that I haven't because they closed the par 3. I didn't get my shirt yet. I emailed them about my shirt. Where is it? And they're like, oh my God, they ran out of your size in white. I'm like, 2X in white? That's probably the most popular size in America. Come on. How are you going to get rid of that? It's a plain cotton tee. Go down to the store. You can pick one up.
That's a good question. What do you think the most common size in America is? You think it's 2X?
I'm saying 2X. I'm saying it's 2X. Yeah. For like a fully grown person over the age of 18, because a lot of people like big shirts.
Yeah.
So this hasn't to do with size. And a lot of people like big shirts.
So in America, for men over the age of 18, you think the 2X shirt size is the most common size in America? I wonder if there's a way for us to look that up. I'm going to go with large. I think it's large.
Okay.
Just large. Comment below what you think this is. And we will find a way to figure this out. Because that's an interesting question. It's an interesting question.
So they're like, oh, we'll send it. And now I guess I'm supposed to get it tomorrow, which is 2 weeks after the place is closed and like a full month of after I ordered it. So not too pleased.
Maybe they deserve to shut down.
No, it's like they did it through a third-party t-shirt making company.
No, I know. It's all that stuff is always hard to do, but I'm glad. Hopefully, you got to keep the Lorca text updated. Make sure you send us, if you get the shirt, do an unboxing. Hold it up. And we want to see it.
Did you do your laces?
No, I haven't done them yet.
Did you do your laces and your voting?
No, not yet. Because it's still too wet. I can't break out the Jordan.
You can't lace something up because it's too wet outside?
I can. I just choose not to.
There it is.
All right. Let's move on to everybody's second favorite portion of the video, and that is...
I had a hot take for you about golfing, and you blew right by it.
Okay, go ahead.
I was thinking about how you did so poorly last week that we need a breakfast ball entire round for golf leagues. So the first round doesn't count. Just to get you out there again.
So like a practice round.
Or maybe you can drop one of your first 3 rounds. Because it's early in the season. You're not in your rhythm yet, right? The conditions so this are still bad.
This is league. So league. Yeah. Okay.
And then it's like, what round do you drop? So it's like you play for 3 weeks, but you only take 2 scores from the 3 week. But once you drop a score, you can't undrop. Yeah.
That's it.
So if you play horrible the first time and you're like, we're dropping this round, and then you play horrible your second time, you still got to take your second time.
Do you have to choose that week? So like, let's say last week I shot a 47 and I'm like, that's the worst I'm ever going to do. But it's like, are you dropping this round or not? You got to lock it in right now as you're leaving the course.
I think so.
Okay.
Because then if you don't drop it and you're like, I played bad, but I think I could play
think I could play worse.
But you play better each time.
Yeah. And then you got to drop like a 42 or something.
You got to drop that third week because you didn't take your drop.
See, that's a lot of gamesmanship. I like that. If you got to choose at the end of the round, are you dropping this one or not?
Yeah. Because at the end
Okay.
of the 3 weeks, I mean, it would be nice at the end of 3 weeks you just drop your worst round. That would be
But that's too
reasonable.
easy. We got to put in some competition. We got to put in
Yeah,
some gamesmanship. Like, am
some
I
confidence in
confident?
yourself.
Am I confident enough at the end of Wednesday to have said, drop this score? I don't know if I would have. But
Really?
now I've been to the range a few times. I'm starting to get a little bit more dialed. And I would have been like, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. I should have done it. But in the moment, in Wednesday, I'm probably thinking I'm horrible at golf. I will never be good at golf again.
Yeah, so do you
Okay.
drop? Exactly.
Hey, this
That's the
might be a
question. Let us know
new.
what you think about
This might be a new league format.
a breakfast ball round for league practice.
Breakfast all around. I like it. Patented idea from Tuna No Crust. Let's move on to everybody's second favorite portion of the video, and that is the movie game.
Movie game.
What the fuck are you looking at?
Seeing if we have any responses in our emails.
Because normally when you look that way, you're looking at emails, but you were looking like kind of down and then up past your camera down there. So
I thought I was looking
something
right at my
above your
camera.
camera. No. All right, here we go. Devin. Last week's movie game question for the audience was: a teenager with thyroid cancer falls for a cancer-stricken teenage boy with sweet tree-serving skills who was raised in the deep jungle by gorillas with an affinity for Phil Collins. Devin, of course, that answer was...
A Fault in Our Starzan.
That is correct. If you got that,
I wrote that down last week. I wrote it down. Yeah, I was like, I know this one. I wrote it down.
Okay, good job. Good job.
Got that one right. That was pretty good. That was, A Fault in Our Stars and Tarzan. But
that was pretty good. All right, Devin, are you ready for your movie game question of the week?
Yeah.
A neurotic aquatic father searches the seas for his son who went missing in Textopolis while helping a visual representation of a human emotion discover himself. A neurotic aquatic father searches the seas for his son who went missing in Textopolis while helping a visual representation of a human emotion discover himself.
So I believe it's Finding Nemo.
For the first one, yep.
For the first one. Textopolis emotion. I thought that was Inside Out, but like that doesn't fit.
It's in that vein. It's in that vein. It's a little bit earlier than Inside Out, and it was awful. Like, think 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Animated though?
Animated.
And it's not Osmosis Jones.
No, because that's a great movie.
That's what threw me. I was like, all right.
A little bit earlier than Inside Out.
And it is what's it? A personification of a human emotion?
In Textopolis, while helping a visual representation of a human emotion discover himself. Think texting.
The Emoji Movie? Oh, I totally
put it all
forgot
together
about that. Finding Nemoji Movie.
There you go. Good
that
job.
That would make me feel bad.
That movie was so awful that Devin forgot it even existed.
Yeah, I did. Here's your question. Ride a luck dragon to the land of Fantasia and defend it from the nothing by building a prize-fighting robot boxer that ultimately brings you closer to your estranged son. Ride a luck dragon to the land of Fantasia and defend it from the nothing by building a prize-fighting robot boxer that ultimately brings you closer to your estranged son.
I think this is that movie that I've never seen.
Yeah, this was
It's
not
like
a big one for our
It's
family
like
growing up.
Fangorn or something. The
No.
dragon. What's
Oh,
the
the
dragon's
dragon's name? I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, that's not the movie. The second one is Real Steel with Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually a pretty good movie. So Real, R-E.
Yeah, we didn't watch this one much.
The Never Ending Store, Real Steel.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah!
You got it in the end.
Yeah, I just remember that freaking dragon that's like furry and stuff, and I think it's like an F, like Fangorn or something like that. But whatever.
Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
Yeah. So what's the audience movie game question?
Where did we settle on radio voice? Yes or no? I heard
definitely
yes.
no. 100%
Definitely no. Okay.
100%
right.
no.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. That a rich dude just offered me $1 million to spend the night with my wife. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. That a rich dude just offered me $1 million to spend the night with my wife.
Let us know what you think.
Devin, I have 2 questions for you, and I'm going to ask them both in order. Oh my God, what just happened? Did you see that?
Yeah. What
I don't know what I'm doing, but this keeps happening
stop.
to me. I think it's you.
You gotta stop.
I think it's
not me.
I think
I
it's
don't know
this,
even
Marshall.
how to make it happen. Because
I don't know
Maybe
either.
it's when you're just like, ah.
I don't know. Whatever. All right. I have 2 questions for you. I'm going to ask them sequentially, in order, rapidly, and then you will answer both of them. Okay?
Okay. I appreciate you telling me you got 2 now. Because now I'm not going to answer the first one.
Okay.
Until.
Are you going to get the name of our next segment right? And are you ready for your hilarious and exponentially stranger way to introduce it?
Did you watch the episode last week?
Yeah, I did.
You like what I did there?
I did.
I saved
I also
myself.
saw the blooper.
Saved myself. All right. Let's think here. Now it's time to study the blueprint. This week we watch Fast and Furious 2009, the 4th movie to come out, but the 3rd chronological. So that's why we're watching it. We're back with Brian O'Connor. You're wondering probably, him and Tyrese are, running a shop in Miami. No, he is a cop now. He's in the FBI. And but before we get to that, we see Robin Hood himself, Mr. Dominic Toretto.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned the Los
Barbados or something like that.
Yeah.
Barbaros, yeah.
Which basically showed that the people need gasoline, and that's why he's stealing gasoline so he can bring it to the people. And then they start calling him Godfather, and he's basically Robin Hood, like I said. And then we meet Han, who was introduced in Tokyo Drift, but this movie showed that he was still alive and that Tokyo Drift hasn't happened yet.
I haven't seen Tokyo Drift, so I don't know who you're talking about.
Well, you saw Han, though.
I mean, I saw Han, but I don't know.
And he's like, I got some things to do in Tokyo.
Like,
and then Letty comes. Letty finds him. They have a great time together, and then he's like, hey, you got to get out of here. You got to get out of it. Things are getting dangerous. He sends her back to L.A. He gets a phone call from Mia. He's like, don't call me. Letty's been murdered. So Dom is back. He watches the funeral from afar because he knows he's got the FBI watching him, including Brian, who's there. And they're like, all right, this is this drug runner who, what's going on here?
My cat is freaking out for some reason.
Cat.
I think there may be chipmunks on the chimney right there. So
I
I heard the running around. So, I just kick out the cat. Okay, let's start from where Dominic was watching the funeral from afar.
Yeah, and then there's Brian, right? And he obviously doesn't, get caught. But it turns out Letty was working for this guy, Braga. No one really knows who he is. But he's moved more merchandise than Pablo Escobar, apparently. And he does it through these underground tunnels, so he needs drivers. One of the drivers, Dom figures, killed Letty because he went to her gravesite, and then apparently is Sherlock Holmes. And he was like looking for clues. And that was fun. And then Brian tries to become a driver, loses to Dom in a race. Brian's like, I would have beat you if Dom didn't cheat. And, Dom's like, whatever, man. I got to avenge Letty's death. And then Brian plants drugs on another guy so that he can become a driver. And that guy smoking third person the entire time, so I feel like everyone was cool with it.
Yeah, that guy sucked. I think
he
all
really into like feet and stuff.
So. All the cops are just like, this won't stick. He's like, not supposed to. Just get him out of the way.
Just get him out of there. And basically, they do a drug run and then find out Braga is the guy who was there all along. The cops mess it up. And then they use Dom uses a vehicle as a weapon to save Brian, and impales this dude. And then instead of running, he waits for the cops to come. Finally, stops running, and then Brian and Mia and the Gal Gadot go to break him out at the end.
It's the the guys from the
from and they break him out, and now I guess Brian.
Well, we don't know
again.
We don't know.
We don't know. They go to break him out.
They go to break him out. The movie ends with 3 cars, a la an homage to the beginning. The first movie, The Fast and the Furious, how it opens with 3 cars chasing down a truck. This one ends with 3 cars chasing down a bus with Dom on it. We don't know what happens. We'll have to find out in Fast 5.
Yeah, so this is our first introduction to Justin Lin. He did Tokyo Drift, and then he did 4, 5, and 6, and then he came back for some later movies as well. But Justin Lin is really where things start to pop off. Fast 5, things go to another level. But this one kind of just brings us back into that original format of like Brian's a cop, Dom's a criminal. How they're going to be brothers again. So, okay. I mean, what are your thoughts?
I got emotional whiplash because I went from pretty relatively serious drama in the first movie, The Fast and the Furious, where there's some lighthearted parts and a little bit campy for the times, yes. But for the most part, it was a relatively serious movie.
Yeah.
And then we go into Too Fast, Too Furious, which, like I said last week, I felt leaned like 80% camp, 20% realistic. And then we just emotionally are like, well, if you're watching it like me in sequential order, one a week after another, then you're pulled back to basically serious. Like right off the bat, they're getting fuel to save people, and then Letty's just dead. It's like, oh yeah, shit. And then it's like a revenge plot, because I felt like this movie was basically Too Fast, Too Furious. It's a drug runner. They're trying to bring him down with the FBI's help. But the twist is that Dom's back now, and it's really more for revenge. So fair enough. I mean, everybody saw the whole twist coming that it was Braga was the guy all along. Because it's like, why would you cast this other guy to be not the guy, and then you're just going to have some old guy? Like, really?
Yeah. They really introduced the entire movie. He hasn't been in the background. It's not like, oh, one of the FBI guys is Braga. Like, there's no like... So, when you saw that old guy that you've never seen before coming out of that limousine, that's not Braga.
That's not Braga. You glossed over completely that Gal Gadot was in this movie, which I think is fine, because I didn't understand her character other than to be like our character in the last movie, Ladyface, the face of the criminal enterprise.
She's like the honeypot.
Yeah, which I did not know when we made that character. I want to point that out. I had no idea what Gal Gadot's character was in this movie. I just knew she was in the movies. So, all right.
Does she drive in this movie? Do we ever see her driving?
You only saw her drive up to them in Mexico to give Dom something that helps him get Braga.
But we don't see her like furious driving.
No, we don't. But cool action sequences. I will give it that. The under the ground tunnel stuff. The tunnel? That was pretty cool. I actually did like how they ramped up the tension between Brian and Dom in that race, and how Brian actually is more towards Vin Diesel's level now. Because in the first movie, he definitely was.
People say he should have won, including Brian. Brian thinks he would have won.
People say that he should have won. Now, had Brian pulled some crap like this before? Yeah, just watch Too Fast, Too Furious, where he just basically tries to crash into the guy. Okay, he's pulled stuff like this before, too.
That's racing, right?
That's racing. And so, but I do like how they're trying to build them up so it's not like Dom is always whatever. Like, Brian's getting there. I didn't like how they just made Brian a cop again, but I realized that this is kind of like what is it? Not a reimagining.
Reboot?
Like like a soft reboot. It's like, okay, let's set the stage. The other movies did happen, but like now this is where like the story
they
really
didn't just straight up ignore Tokyo Drift. They're just like, it hasn't happened yet.
Well, I don't know anything about Tokyo Drift. Okay, we haven't watched it yet, so stop bringing it up.
I'm just saying what happened in the real world.
Actually, I do have a bone to pick with you. You promised me Han. You promised
Han was in this.
Han was in this for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay? But what a 3 minutes. Am I wrong?
And I feel like you had to have watched Tokyo Drift before this to be like, oh my God, that's Han. Because then he says the line, like, I hear they're doing cool things in Tokyo.
Yeah, 100%. But we're watching this in story timeline.
So I'm like, who's Han? He seems cool. I got more of Han because I watched the 20-minute video.
So, yeah, so did I. So what's your impression of Han from the 20-minute video and the 3 minutes he's in this movie? Like, I mean, just what are your initial thoughts?
My initial thoughts is that we know absolutely nothing about Han.
No, that's not your initial thought.
No, that is my initial.
Is he's cool?
Yeah, my initial thought is
you want to know, like, your initial thought isn't, I don't know anything about this person, because that would be your initial thought when you literally meet any person.
Yeah, but then if you let me finish, Devin, answering your question, instead of jumping in and saying things, blah, 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 I would have said, I don't know anything about him, but he seems cool and I want to know more. I want to know more about Han. Like,
but it seems cool.
You know, the first movie, Leon, who we never see again, forgettable. He's a forgettable guy. But you could say that Han is basically this movie's Leon, but he seems cooler.
It's like, even more mysterious. He's like, I'm here for 3 minutes. If you didn't watch the 20-minute short film, you have no idea why I'm here. And then I'm out. And it's like, I talked to Gal Gadot. I say the heat is on, and I'm out of there.
He talked to Gal Gadot? I don't think he talks to Gal Gadot in this movie. No, he's just in the Dominican Republic, and then he leaves from there. He never sees Gal Gadot. He's never in L.A.
Who's he talk to in the Dominican Republic, then?
He talks to Letty and Dom. That's it.
Oh. He's like, how long you been running with Dom?
Yeah.
No, he talked to that... He talked to someone.
I think you're thinking of the short film when he first gets there and he's like, yeah, I've been running around with Dom in Mexico and whatnot, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
This movie, he like, it's literally like he just drives.
You gotta watch it, though. You gotta watch that to be a completist about the series. We're probably gonna have to watch the animated shorts. And stuff.
There's an animated short?
I think there's an animated like show or something. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So, overall impression. No, I'll get that towards the end before the lore list. More minutely, like seeing Mia again. Really like that she's back. Okay. I did not know Letty was gonna die. That came out of left field. I don't like that we didn't see it on camera. kind of makes me believe that there's some shenanigans afoot. Because also it's
Huh.
Michelle Rodriguez, and this was 15
Well, you gotta
years
take-
ago.
you
And
gotta
I also
take
know that she's in the next movie. I don't know if it's
you
the
gotta
next
take
one,
that
but
out
she's
of
in
it.
it.
You gotta take that out of it.
But I'm
Because
going for like
what
our
a
story
thing to
later.
think in 2009 when you watch this and Letty's dead in the first and Letty dies. You're like, how? It's shocking. They killed Letty.
They
Are you
killed
kidding
Letty.
me?
Off screen. And then this douchebag is the guy who killed her. That guy was not a good villain. I'm going to say it right now. He's the guy that Dom kills. Like, whatever. He's just an asshole. But there's no gravitas to him. Like, he doesn't have a commanding presence. He doesn't even seem like he's
I think it's because you see him for too little of time.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, if he was at that time when he's like, I thought whatever was going to be here, and he's like, oh, she'll meet you on the road. It's like, so your introduction to him is a car pulling up, so you don't see the immediate tension. You kind of just see Dom driving a little aggressive, and this guy's like, all right, this guy, don't mess it up, but. And then he's kind of just like a whiny bitch. And he's like, you got to do better. And then he's got plans to kill them all anyway. So it's like, why do you... I mean, I feel like they did as well as they needed to do. Like,
yeah, also, I'm with you on that. How? I don't think that's a good business practice to just kill your drivers every time.
Every time? You got to think like, hey, let's not do this race because the last 5 people to win this race never came back.
Never came back. No one has ever seen them again.
Oh, they got rich and moved away. What about the 5 before them?
Yeah, and the 5 before them.
Yeah. This guy's been moving more than Pablo Escobar. How many drivers has he gone through?
He's a serial killer at this point.
And at this point, are there any good drivers left in LA?
No, there isn't. Although I mean, can we talk about it? The chase sequence at the end in the tunnel where Dom jumps from one car to another.
It makes me hard to believe that he wrecked the car that Letty rebuilt that he had wrecked before. So he's like, it's sentimental, and then he's like, all right, I'm just gonna drive it into a wall. Does he go back and get it?
No, it's sentimental in that he uses it to avenge her. So he used it to get to that point so then he could jump, and also it's just a cool sequence. Come on.
Oh yeah, jumping into another car
while driving 100 miles an hour underneath the fucking U.S.-Mexico border, and then he punches that guy out, and then he just blasts through the tunnel and kills that guy because that guy was going to jump out of the way, and Brian grabbed his leg. He's like, I'm willing to go down. He just grabbed him and held him in place. But Dom was precise with the car placement, so he doesn't even hit Brian. He just hits that other guy. Totally believable. Yeah. Totally believable.
I mean, I believed it. I totally believed it.
All right, Devin. Well, before we get to the lore list, we're going to try something new here, folks. And that's Devin and Zach's 60-second movie review. Would you like me to go first, or would you like to go first?
I want you to go first.
Okay, ready?
Pop it off for us.
Here we
Should
go.
I put a timer on to make sure that it's less than 60 seconds?
I can see it.
Or are you doing 30 seconds and I'm doing 30 seconds?
Yeah.
Or...
We're each doing 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I was going to go for a minute, but all right. Ready?
30 seconds.
Ready?
That's it.
30 seconds. Go.
This is Devin and Zach's 60-second movie review. 1. Fast and the Furious, emotional whiplash. Do I think this is better than Too Fast, Too Furious? I don't. Second movie's better. Boom. There it is. The Fast and the Furious franchise. Devin, what are your thoughts?
You used 16 seconds, and for the first 6 of the seconds, you introduced it. So you gave a 10-second review, and for the majority of that 10-second review, you talked about another movie.
I said I think that Too Fast, Too Furious is better.
That's not the movie we're watching or reviewing.
All right, let me do it again. Let me do it again.
Just, don't worry about doing it quickly. Just do an actual review.
Did my camera stop?
So let's get to our 60-second movie review of Fast and Furious 2009.
Great action sequence, emotional whiplash. Letty dies off screen. I don't like it. So I'll just say right now, it's going to be pretty low on my list, but I'm going to say one good thing about this movie. Everybody needs to know it. Han.
You cut out, so I didn't hear a single thing.
I cut out?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me right
froze, now? And then I didn't hear your audio, and then everything caught back up and went like... Might try it again, just in case.
Devin and Zach's 60-second movie review. Fast and the Furious 2009. It's a soft reboot. I'll tell you the good things up front. Han, Mia, and Letty being dead. Just kidding. That one sucked, but it brought Dom back, and that's what we were waiting for. Dom and Brian back together again. Now it's your turn.
All right. Where the hell is Roman, man? The best part about 2 isn't in 3. Are you kidding me? I'm calling this 3 because chronologically this is 3.
Tokyo Drift didn't happen.
Yet. But come on, where is Roman? Brian's a cop again? What is happening? At least we got Dom back in the U.S. where he belongs. FBI gonna check the garage? Not a chance.
I like it. Should we have a rating scale at the end? And it's like 2.5 out of 4 tires. You know what I mean?
Or like, where does it fall on the lore list? All right, here is the lore list. We have the original Fast and Furious at 18, Too Fast, Too Furious at 34. Zach, where does Fast and Furious 2009 fall on the lore list? Not thinking
Devin,
top 10.
No, we're not. I'm glad you asked this question because I feel, and I don't know for sure, that you might have a little sentimentality for this movie because it's the start of the reboot and Justin Lin and getting like the band back
Tokyo
together.
Drift was the start of Justin Lin, but you know.
Yeah, but like not with the original crew. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but whatever. But I just got to go based purely on the 3 movies I've seen. The Fast and the Furious, Too Fast, Too Furious, and Fast and the Furious. And I got to say, this is far below the original.
Yep.
And I might think on rewatchability, because we always talk about rewatchability. Too Fast, Too Furious, I might watch before this again. You know
Hell yeah, I would.
Like that one just seems more fun. So I think it's
so
got to go
better.
below. It's got to go below 34, and I'm thinking, I think right around where Hitchhikers is, because it's not the Kid Who Would Be King bad, you know, which is number 51 on the lore list.
True, but Hellboy and Sherlock Holmes and Arthur Christmas, they've been sitting in this little section here for a while. No one really pays attention to these movies, and I feel like they're not horrible movies.
They're not.
It's just, you know, these ones are better, and these ones suck.
Yeah,
so you just
you're
have,
right.
like, this section of normal, decent movies. And that's where I think Fast and the Furious is. Because it's probably is one of the worst ones in the franchise.
Yeah, you're
Very
a fast head, Devin.
forgettable. But still, you got fast driving. You got some cool stuff. You got the bring back of Brian and Dom. But it's such an average movie.
I get that. Okay, so would you watch Sherlock Holmes before this movie?
I probably would, but I love Arthur Conan Doyle. So.
It's true. You're a big Arthur Conan Doyle stan.
Yeah.
You basically came out of the womb talking about
I would watch this over Son of Batman because Son of Batman, it's like one note, you get the idea. This
Yeah.
is so I would put it
Okay.
in between those two, Sherlock Holmes and Son of Batman.
Let's see. Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Christmas, Hellboy, The Babysitter, Killer Queen. That's a great movie. Kicking,
Yeah.
Screaming, great movie. Castaway probably should be lower. Yeah.
Even
All right. I'm
watch-
with you. I'm with you. Let's go in between Sherlock Holmes and Son of Batman. And I really thought that I was going to say that Too Fast, Too Furious was going to be probably the bottom of my list on the Fast franchise. But, looking back, even a week and a half later, it's just a fun movie. It's just a fun
It really
movie.
is.
Well, there you have it, folks. The new number 47 on the lore list is Fast and Furious.
I feel like that's respectable. It seems low, but it is in that chunk of just fine movies.
I think you're right. As we watch worse and worse movies, because we will at some point, the bottom list is really going to expand.
Yeah.
That's just normal movie range.
Because we have some great movies up here.
Yeah.
And
There's
then
just the whole top 10 is just banger after banger.
even some of these movies in the 20s.
Mulan at 24? Mulan's a classic.
Just goes to show you. We've been watching a lot of great movies.
All right, Devin. Well, now it's time to get into the finale of our first trilogy in our franchise, Cosmic Void, in
Building the lore in the writer's zoo. All right, Zach, so why don't you tell us what happened in the sequel to Cosmic Void, Cosmic Heist?
Cosmic Heist starts with our crew of merry men and women on Big Blimpin', pulling off a sweet job. They're blowing up a dam, they're going against big corporate, and they're helping the little guy. They get some crystals to fuel their ship, and as they go, they get a weird transmission from a mysterious benefactor asking them to come do a job for them. They don't really like the vibe, so they go to sleep. But Xander is like, we need some money. So he sets course to the planet, kind of like Tortuga place. And when they wake up, they're like, what are we doing here? But they're already caught, so they got to go. They meet a honeypot type person named Ladyface, who brings them to her benefactor, Mr. Cape. And he's got a simple job. I just want you to go to my previous planet and steal my crown, because I used to be married to the queen, and she didn't let me keep it when we got divorced. I'm like, all right, that's a pretty simple job. It's for a lot of money. And this guy said he'll help us fix this compass that Ronan has to find Devotanium, a mysterious and rare mineral in this universe that is the ultimate power source. And it is important to Ronan because the planet he was taken from, where he last saw his sister, is filled with Devotanium. So they go and pull this job, and it goes off pretty much. Oh, nope, sorry. They got to go blast from Ronan's past, because they need a master thief and a getaway driver if they're going to pull this off. And they find them both in one place. And that's with Ronan's old friend from childhood,
Thaddeus, and his mentee, Joyride.
They join up because the money's too good. So we go off to Queen Planet, because we never named that planet. So now it's named Queen Planet. And they pull the job, and hilarious sequences happen. Some way for all the characters to flex their know-how and thieving skills and brawniness and brains. They get the crown. On their way back, they meet up with Mr. Cape. They give him the crown. He pays them. He says, I'll have my techs look at your thing and you'll be fine. Mr. Cape then gets in his ship. Everybody thinks everything's chill, except he launches an armada. And that's when we find out whoever holds the crown is the sovereign of Queen Planet.
So he brings all the pirates from the pirate planet as his armada.
This doesn't sit well with the crew, except Xander, who's like, whatever, we got paid. Who cares? Not our problem.
We can be in line with the next commanding ruler of the Queen Planet.
But the crew has a conscience. and they go after him, and we pull a double heist, space heist. And
They infiltrate the Armada.
We infiltrate the Armada. They get on board, and they run into Ladyface, and they think they're caught. But we find out Ladyface, double agent for the Queen. Queen placed her there because she knew Mr. Cape was going to be up to no good. She needed a spy on the inside. But our crew, they go up to the bridge, they sabotage it, and Rory and Ronan go down to the engine room because that's where Mr. Cape and his big, hulking, we don't know if he's human or not.
Bodyguard. He's covered head to toe.
Bodyguard.
So we assume he's human, but he's covered head to toe armor.
He's got like weird proportions for a human, but whatever. So there's a huge fight. And we think Ronan's going to go down for the count because we've seen this big guy just smash skulls. But at the last moment,
Rory goes after Mr. Cape and he's fighting him.
Yeah. Ronan throws a punch. And we just hear this metal on metal bang. Even though it's his fist on this guy's helmet, the helmet flies off. We see a green face, tentacles, obvious alien. Gets punched into oblivion, into the engine. The thing starts to go like overheat, overreact. It's going to blow. Rory meets up with Mr. Cape, huge misogynist. Okay. Little bit of a dandy. Kind of a wimp. Rory punches him straight in the face, takes the crown, says, Queen planet is better off with the Queen. They get out of there. They get Ladyface. That ship blows up. All the pirates turn around because they're like, whatever, we already got paid. Let's get out of here. And they return the crown to the Queen, who fixes.
And Xander has a moment of we can be the rulers, but
the Queen and her consorts fix the compass, and the compass lights up. Cut to black.
End credit scenes. We see a transmission coming in to an alien ship that one of their own has died.
There we go. That's the end of Cosmic Heist. And now we are into the third movie of our franchise, Devin. We've already made promises.
Xander is dead, guys. He dies in Act 3. It's gonna happen. We mentioned it 2 weeks ago. It's happening.
Okay, so we're doing Act 3 death, not Letty death, Act 1.
Yeah, I think it's the end, his recklessness or his bad decision making or his newfounded greed. Because we did show him getting a little reckless in the second one. I think this one he's gone full recklessness, full overboard, and it leads to his demise.
Okay.
But Rory has to have been trying to talk him off the ledge this whole time. She doesn't like where he's been going. So this is because she has to feel guilty when he eventually does fall because she doesn't think she did enough.
Okay. Here's the things that I want that I think have to happen in this movie. The first two movies, we have Ronan's whole purpose is this compass and what it represents to him. In the second movie, we find out that he was taken as a kid off this planet and he has a sister and he's looking for her. That's why the compass is important. So I think we got to resolve that here. We have to find the sister. We got to get to
that planet. We got to find the Devotanium.
Devotanium.
Put it both ways.
Devotanium. And then are we resolving the alien tag? Or is that more of a big bad for the next trilogy of the franchise?
Big bad for the next trilogy.
Okay. All right. Okay. So what is Devotanium? What is this planet? I think it's more like a mining slave planet type thing.
Prison planet, or because I do feel really bad people being born into it. I feel better if this is a work camp for criminals, just because of the implications. But it does make sense when they're both children. So maybe let's go fucking. This was a peaceful planet.
Okay.
That they discovered this element. The indigenous people did not use it. but now it is being mined, and thus the land is being destroyed.
Okay.
Kind of like oil and native land. Like,
Okay.
basically ripping that idea and, showing how we've killed people's homes for energy and power and whatever.
I'm fine with that. What if we open with a flashback? Flashback is young Ronan, young sister. We need to name her.
Doing like a training montage, getting a little training, or like
I
doing some
wasn't
martial
even
arts.
really gonna say training. I was gonna say more like the little, like, this is maybe the introduction of the people who came, and like the sister gets in trouble with them, and Ronan like kind of beats one of them up or something like that. Maybe that's the genesis of why he gets taken off, type of thing. But he makes a promise to his sister or something in that thing, like he'll come back.
Shouldn't we show a little like good times before we go straight into the bad times?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think if we open up with a scene that's like wholesome and pleasant, they're playing, but then the scene devolves into
or something,
that. And then maybe we don't see the full scene in the beginning, like he wakes
up.
up, that trope. We start seeing a good scene, and then we see like the bad people.
Hold on. Your voice was going and you weren't moving and tried to catch up everything again. So what'd you say?
Maybe we start off with a flashback of the good times with Ronan and his sister when they're children, maybe 10, 8, something like that. And then we see like dark clouds and ships coming, and then we wake up. So we don't get into the full scene in the beginning of the movie, but we like introduced that these two characters, Ronan and his little sister, did have good times.
Okay, so you need to have a scene before you just have the introduction of the dark clouds. Because then you're just literally just being, oh, there's dark clouds. He has a sister. The reminder. So I do think we need to find a little something in there. I mean, this comes way later when we're doing the script, but something that that we don't see a side of. We've never seen a side of, So we've seen him be a protector at this point. But like, what if this time he's being a little jokester, or he's making her laugh or something? And it's like, then you kind of see something happen that changed him fundamentally. So
yeah. I'm good with that.
It's almost like he wasn't Ronan until this event. He was like a goofy, carefree kid. And then this event happened, and then he had to become this Ronan character so he could go save her over the last, I don't know, 15
Do we want to
years.
see that whole scene in the beginning, or just the jokester part? Nice wholesome scene, couple of minutes, and then we see the dark clouds of the ships, and then he wakes up, and then eventually
he wakes up.
We eventually get the rest of the scene later in the movie.
Throughout the movie, we're gonna see the whole scene of them bombing the village and running away from bombs, and a commanding thing, and then him being like taken off, or her being, something like that.
I think the scene ends there with he gets taken by some troops, and she like split up, and he's like screams or make a promises like, I will come back. And that's the last time he saw her. So, okay, so we're going full on. This was a peaceful planet. Indigenous people lived in harmony. And now we're getting full on invasion, bombing, stripping the land of resources. Okay. Got it. So that's the opening scene, not the whole thing, just the thing. And then he wakes up in the ship. The ship is still populated with Rory,
I think we
Xander.
Start all of the movies in the ship so far.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I think that's a trope. It's kind of like the picnic table. It's like they're at the ship. We start in the ship.
Yeah, the first movie is more of like a Greyhound bus ship, but we still start with Ronan on a ship.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start with the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a couple of weeks, couple of months since the last movie. They have not yet found the planet. Maybe it's like narrowing down planets. Okay. So I think this one starts with them getting to a planet and him going, not
this detects the Deftones. So they could be going to places with high levels, and it's just not the correct one. So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So this could be like the 18th planet they've searched, and
Mhm.
it's still the wrong one. But I
Yeah, and
think we
then
see some comfortability where like Joyride is the one driving, and maybe there's like a little flirtation between Joyride and Xander, so we could
ooh,
play that up a little bit,
okay,
and then you have
okay.
Thaddeus being like you know an older figure, and him and Rory being like, let them be kids. Rory has been like, so it's like you see this family dynamic happening within the ship, and then enters Ronan from his quarters.
Uh huh.
It's
Uh huh. I think by this movie, and I think we've seen hints of it in the other ones, like the first movie where he becomes protective of Xander and Rory. The second movie where like the same thing, like he's the hero when he has to be. I think we start to see him being a little bit more comfortable with these people. So he's not like cracking jokes like we just saw, but he's not also not like dour sourpuss 24/7. Like I think he has been now. He's starting to feel like these people aren't going to leave or something bad's not going to happen, and
well,
like
this
he's
could be
starting to get more comfortable.
we could show him not in his armor.
Mm-hmm.
And in the past we could always have shown him in his armor when he's around
Mm-hmm.
other people. So in this movie, when he's waking up, he comes out not fully kitted. And you're like, oh, he
Mm-hmm.
trusts these people to the point where he doesn't feel like he has to have his blades and knives on him at all times.
I like that. Well, he's still got his blade. He's always got a blade, but
Yeah, but he's
he's
like
also
he like takes it out and then cuts up like a dragon fruit or something.
exactly. Yeah. Okay, so I like that. We open up with the dream sequence, then we open up is like this is the 18th planet, still not that, and then we get to like then there's like a little bit of frustration, not from Ronan, but from like Rory's like, can you give us anything else you remember? Because how many planets have Devotonium? Are we just gonna go from thousands of planets to get it? And then I think maybe because
Well,
of the
I
dream,
think
what we
I
see in
think
there.
I like someone saying that. I don't know if it's Rory. I think Thaddeus could do that maybe. And then Rory is like the one who because she's the only one who knows why this is such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she's more protective of like, well, calm down, like this is just as frustrating. Like,
Yeah, I get that. Okay.
and he's like, can we do something else? Like we need money. We're running out of money.
Yeah. The last couple of jobs, because we went to these planets, we helped the people out. They didn't pay us anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, so maybe there's something that we see in the dream sequence that he reiterates. It's not a shattered moon, but like a broken moon or a moon with a ring around it. I don't want to do the whole two sun thing because that's Tatooine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But something like cosmological. So it's like, okay, this is a little different.
Yeah,
So
I
that
think
narrows
you
stuff
could
down.
you could see a twin planet that had big rings. You know?
Okay, so close to it. So maybe him
Like
like going
super
like,
close. So like it looks like the entire sky.
yeah,
Like
when they
instead of
yeah.
seeing blue, you see the other planet, and you can
Mhm.
see the rings around it and such. Like we can make it like to the
Yeah,
point where
I like that. Okay, yeah,
it
like,
looks like
I mean,
close enough, like it's the moon or something.
the only thing I remember is that there's always a red planet in the sky with rings around it, and then Thaddeus can be like, "That's super helpful," and then starts narrowing it down. It's like you never thought to just tell us this before. It's like what? All
Mm-hmm.
planets don't have another planet with a ring around it. No, no, they don't. All right, so okay.
So when they get there, do we find the sister of this movie? Do we find another big bad? Do we find the sister who is in trouble and needs the help, or doesn't want the help because she believes that Ronan abandoned her? I mean,
I
I
think
have no problem finding the sister of this movie. It kind of wraps up the whole. Like
I
I'm
think we
searching
have
for
to.
something. This is what I'm searching for. I found her. Okay.
Yeah, I think we have to do it this one. It doesn't mean that depending on what we do, that the sister can't come back in other movies, but I think like it has to wrap this storyline of him searching for something in this trilogy end. So
So
I
is he
think
taken from the planet then, and she stayed, and that's why when they
yeah.
go there, they find her,
Mm-hmm.
and she's kind of been like this leader, of an underground rebellion or of the indigenous
Yeah.
people type thing.
We can either do one of two things this way. either she was taken because of something special with her. So a oligarch family, the one that invaded, took her for a specific reason, either to bring her into their family because maybe she has some ability to find
We could say
devotonium,
that
or
they are the prince and princess of this planet, and they took her as like a hostage. But like,
But then why wouldn't have they just killed Ronan?
they sent him off to. Okay, this is getting real life a little bit, right?
Okay.
They send him off to like westernize him, right?
Okay.
But then he escaped from that, but
Yeah.
just like hasn't really known how to figure out his way back, and kind of had to, like, he was fighting and stuff.
So he is. So okay. So you're saying they invade, and we're saying that this is the prince and princess. Their parents are
Ronan
killed
and his
in the
sister
invasion.
are like the children of the tribal leaders of this.
Yeah.
Indigenous
Their parents are killed, obviously,
planet,
in the
yes.
invasion. They keep the sister as a hostage, basically, to be
Yeah.
like, okay, this is how we're
And
going
they're
to hold
gonna
the
marry him
planet.
to his son.
Yeah.
Right.
And they send Ronan off. They don't kill Ronan because they thought if they just killed Ronan outright, executed him, they would start a full on rebellion. They send him
Because
off.
they're gonna make. They made him the leader, right? They crowned him. You know, I don't know, tribal leader or king or whatever.
Well, he's still like 10 when this happened. So maybe there's just.
But they can crown him, take the sister as a hostage, marry the sister to their son, ensuring that their line is connected. And then if they keep the boy alive, so that then you can be like, okay, there's not someone else who's going to like question or challenge this, but you keep him under your control. That's why you send him off to this school to be westernized and basically brainwashed into becoming your puppet leader for the corporate or whatever.
I got you. Okay. Okay.
Because they're like trying to do like a legal takeover.
I understand what you're saying. All right, fuck it. That's fine. But Ronan immediately escapes from where he is. So there's no like real indoctrination.
The second the ship goes at the first space stop, they're at space stop 68. He just jumps out, you know, and he gets out of there. And
he's been living as a criminal.
I think he just jumped on a boat or a Greyhound ship to the furthest place he could go. Yeah, and then for the last whatever has been training until he can come back in order to like whatever.
Okay, so this part we don't have to put in the episode, but we do have to get this straight.
He's a hidden prince like every other sci-fi movie.
Fine. I don't care. We can do that part. I'm just saying, like, he's a hidden prince. He gets shipped off. He immediately escapes. He goes into a life of crime, underground, or whatever. At some point, he would have had to have been experimented on, right? Because we're saying he's not fully human. He has some sort of tech powers. So we're saying that happened in the criminal aspect, like he was down on his luck, and some other corporation
kid and
brought him in. Okay, and that's where like he also met Thaddeus and maybe a couple other people that will eventually.
Maybe it happened almost immediately after he left, because that's why his memory of like where this place was, and because if you're like, oh, I ran away, I got off at Space Stop 68, and I took a space transport to O'Neill Planet 8.
Yeah.
Whatever. You would have that ingrained in your mind. But if it's like he got off at Space Stop 68, he gets abducted by the corporation or something, they experiment on him, his memories are jogged, all this trauma, he's repressing it all. The only thing he can remember is the day that they were attacked. Nothing else.
Okay.
Like, maybe not even like, because I also do think that yes, they're the tribal leaders, but that doesn't have the same weight and meaning that the like colonial Western civilization thinks it does.
I agree.
So like he didn't see himself as like this prince who is taking back his homeland.
Or
His
do we
birthright,
want to say when he was taken? Because this just seems like a lot of like random things to happen. Or do we want to say when he was taken, his part of his indoctrination was this augmentation process. He just escaped during it, so it didn't finish. So that's why he has a little bit of memory loss. That's also why he has physical abilities more. So that way, like, that's a clean thing versus like he escaped and then he fell into another weird plot transfer. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, we got a lot of stories. We got a lot of prequels. We got to leave room for these adventures to happen. You know, we got.
That's true. We do have to have a big. We do have to have a big bad later. And I was thinking like the big bad at the end of the movie was the corporation that experimented on him. Okay. Because this is still pretty clean.
Thaddeus fucking escape together, or do they meet and then he escaped and then the Thaddeus go through the entire program? You know. But it's more if they escape together that makes them like not whatever. But then later in some of the movies down the line, you could meet some people that didn't escape and did go through the whole program, and
that's what I'm saying.
Manchurian candidates, and it's like having flashbacks of them hanging out in the bunk room together. And it's like, you know, you don't remember me.
And then they have like more special powers than the other guys do because they went through the full thing and stuff like that. Okay. All right. So here we are.
All right. Back to it. In case we had to cut out the last 5 minutes of figuring out a backstory that doesn't really have to do with this movie, here is what we came up with.
Okay, so we're back on the spaceship, and Ronan gives the extra detail about in the sky, there was a red planet with a ring around it, and Thaddy goes, oh my God, that narrows it down so much. Plugs it in his coordinates. We find the planet. The compass is coming off like jing, 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 devotonium. He gets there, and immediately we're back in that dream sequence, and we're seeing a little bit more.
That flashback.
That flashback.
Dream sequence and flashbacks are two different things.
You're right. We star wipe to the... No, I'm just kidding. So we're back and we start to see the actual invasion happening. And then before he gets too into it, he gets shaken out of it. And they're like, is this it? And Ron's like, yeah. And so we land in the main port. And what you see coming in, I'm thinking devastation, or like scarred black planet, and then like a pristine, huge city. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the contrast.
Like pristine, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we get into this sprawling metropolis surrounded by like scarred black planet and whatnot. They're only here, like, Ronan did not come to free this planet. He's only here for his sister, is my opinion. Okay, we're gonna like, cause that's like a different motivation. He's like, I understand this. I think
he finds out that she is married to the son of the same people, and on the outside, she is this perfect wife to this person, and when they meet her, she has that, you know, whatever, and then she puts on that persona, and then when they're in private, really wails into him, and then goes off, and we find out that she's actually a underground leader as well. So she's living a double life.
I like that. Okay, because I think I can imagine the sequence in our head. They get off the ship. Okay, no one's really noticing them that much. Ronan has like a hood up or whatnot because he doesn't want to be seen. Like, he still doesn't have like a full memory of his life back here, but he does know this is my planet. People probably recognize me. And it's like, how are we going to find your sister? Like, what does she look like? And he starts to say something like that. And then Xander's like, you mean her? And then you like, it's a huge like painting or mural or whatever, like anniversary of the king and queen or whatever, or prince and princess.
Crown prince and crown princess, and, you know,
fundraising gala. I love that. We're going to a fundraising gala, Devin.
So now they got to wear tuxedos to look like the staff.
Exactly. We're in there.
Twist, the staff, because that's their initial plan. Staff, all robots.
Oh, damn it.
Because remember, we find a robot companion They find a robot companion in the trash. And
Okay.
they fix them and reprogram them, and now they
Yep.
can control them from their ship.
And yeah, it's not like remote control, but it's more like in your ear. Like this is a sentient robot, but he's agreed to help because they
I'm
fixed
picturing
him
like
up.
the droids from like episode 1 and 2, you know, where like clearly could not be a stick with arms and stuff. It's like, we'll just pretend, we'll blend in. It's like, I don't think we're gonna blend in with that.
Yeah.
And then they like take one out, knock it out, beat it up, reprogram it, and now like have control over it.
Okay. All right. And that's where they meet his sister. You see her in this situation, charming, you know, kind of talking about the indigenous people, like, oh, you know, like not like outright saying they're, you know, beneath her, but more like, oh, you know, we really need to educate them. I think we've been doing a really good job of that. So you're kind of thinking like she's indoctrinated, and then like the robot
I think she could be
follows
saying
her.
like we've been making, you know, we've bridged the gap between our two cultures so well, you know, like.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the fundraiser's for too, like to send the indigenous tribes kids to school and whatnot, and what, you know, whatever. And then I think Ronan's kind of like pretty upset about this, so then they follow her, and that's when like they're gonna go into the palace, they're gonna go confront her, but then they see her sneak out, and then they follow her, and that's when we find out that she's also a revolutionary leader, like you said.
I just don't get where Ronan is like. He's like mad that his sister's now indoctrinated, but like, one, does he recognizes his sister? They have no interaction together, so he doesn't know if she's a prisoner. Like, I don't know how angry he'll get. You know, I feel like someone could be like, say it, and he could just be like, I don't know. You get what I mean?
Okay.
I don't
maybe
know.
It's not. Maybe it's not him.
Off.
Maybe it's not him being upset, but it's more like Xander or somebody else in the crew going like, does she need saving? Like,
yeah, because his whole plan is like to get her out of there, right? Like,
snatch
and
and grab,
free her. Yeah, and he's like, she's a prisoner, you know, whatever.
We're gonna pull in, we're gonna bust heads, we're gonna grab my sister, we're gonna get out of there. Like that's all he cares about. And then we get there, plan. And then it's flipped, and then we're like, okay, I don't even know what we're supposed to do now. We find out that she is a revolutionary leader. I think that's when we have our first interaction, right? Maybe right outside the meeting or something.
Well, I think it has to be in a place where they're secluded, they're alone, and they have the opportunity to leave right then and there. And Ronan's like, let's go. We can get to my ship. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? Mm-hmm. I can't leave my people. That's not something I do. That's something you do. Got him!
Oh! Right to the heart.
Right to the heart.
That's their first interaction, too,
I didn't
in like
leave.
15 years.
You said you were coming back, and you never came back. That sounds a lot like leaving to me.
I'm back now. Yeah, just to grab me and leave.
Boom. Hit him again.
Then she walks away. She gets back in her car. She goes back to the castle. So I think at that point, we got to have like
car? She's just in a Toyota Camry?
Yeah, it's like a Toyota Camry.
Everyone else has a hovering vehicle, and she's just...
Well, she got a spoiler on it, too, you know? So she's going fast. She's going furious. I think we got to have a ship meeting after that, right? Because Ronan's probably going to be pretty fucking depressed.
And they're like, let's get out of here. Whatever.
And he's like, what do you want to do? And I think at this point, is this where we show Ronan's a hero? Or like, okay, how do we want Xander to die? That's the big question.
I was just thinking about this. So, Xander is so curious about this devotanium, right?
Devotanium, yeah.
This place obviously has a shit ton of it. It's very volatile. He's going to get blown up trying to steal this shit. Because he's going to steal it. He's going to make a deal with Thaddeus and Joyride.
Okay.
And he's going to, you know, Thaddeus and Joyride are like, why are we still on this thing? We need money, yada, yada. He's like, you know, Ronan and Rory really having their heart to heart. This is where they connect. This is where they, like, come together. You know, and they're both having sibling problems in this one. They're gonna get together in this movie. They're getting together just for them to leave, because I think Rory's got to leave at the end of the movie.
Of course,
for a little bit. For a little bit,
at least a movie.
I don't know about a full movie, but she's not in that ship.
When this movie 4 starts and we're on the ship, Rory's not going to be there.
Yeah. But they get together, put them together in like the midpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, meanwhile, Xander, Thaddeus, and Joyride are running this other job with Xander in the lead. It goes bad. Things aren't going well. Thaddeus and Joyride are ready to cut their losses and go. And Xander's like, no, I'm not letting this go. And he fucking makes a mistake in hubris and he blows himself up.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I want it to be like, he's killed by someone, so now we have to avenge his death. I think it's like the fault of his own.
I'm okay with it being the fault of his own. I'm just thinking about like, how does it push the revolutionary story forward? Because I'm assuming the end of this movie is a revolution. They're gonna overthrow the corporation that's in just this specific planet. And then I'm assuming the sister stays, so she's not gonna go on the ship with them.
I think the revolutionaries' plan is to blow up these Devotanium reserves.
Yeah.
And that will cripple the economy.
Okay.
Because there could be huge vaults of it. That's the plan, to blow them up. Ronan and the crew join the sister, obviously, to help them. Xander's like, we got to steal some before it's too close to the wire to the explosion. Thaddeus and Joyride are like, let's get out of here. Xander's like, I'm not leaving yet. Sends them off. Maybe he has a button that they do a program or whatever to send him off, and then dies because his jet bike is too heavy and he's trying to outrun the explosion or something. They're like, you have to drop your load. And he's like, I'm not dropping. And he's like, you have to drop the load,
Mm-hmm. Or, okay. Wait. I understand that you want him to be reckless and you want his death to be his own fault. Completely understandable. What if we give the rest of the crew the impetus to follow through on the revolution because of his death? So, everything that you just said, we got a bike. He's got the Devotanium on it. He's told to get rid of it because it's too big or whatever, not. And he doesn't do it. He's about to do it because he does realize at one point, oh, crap, this is actually finally going to hit me. But when he's going to do it is that he is now too far above the city. And if he does it, he's going to go into a neighborhood or something. So instead, he doesn't do it. And he goes down and takes a military target out instead. So his death is still reckless. It's still his fault. But in his final moment, he does something good. You know what I mean? Because then that's now the crew is like, okay, well, Xander died for this now.
Change it so it's is that how they're fighting? Is they're taking these things and fucking blowing up, and then his doesn't release, and it's not releasing, and then he's maybe some other guys are coming in on him, right? Some corporate people, and then instead of being captured or caught and revealing the secrets, because it's if you get captured, they can read your mind, and everyone who is part of this goes out.
Yeah.
So he sacrifices himself. I don't know. You have a question there if it's noble death or a stupidity death there. Because that really changes the... Because I don't know if she'd be so worked up if it's a noble death. And she's like, his sister, Rory, she'd be like, he did die and it was stupid. But if it's he died because of his greed, she might feel so much more guilty because she didn't check that.
I get that.
You know what I mean? I don't know if we have to give him a fucking honorable death, is what I'm saying.
I'm fine with not being super honorable. let's say he just got, they're there and they're just having a heart to talk, and these other three go pull a job and he dies.
Mm-hmm.
Why do the rest of them stay? I guess it's fine if we want the other three to leave and then Ronan stays.
I'm saying they pull the job during the finale.
Okay.
So the whole plan is we're going to blow up these things.
Yep.
And Xander's like, before we blow it up, let's take a little for ourselves.
Okay. And they all tell him, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the low, Thaddeus, Joyride, and Xander set up to do it. You know.
Okay.
Thaddeus
Okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense if it's Act 3. So
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
They've all resolved to do the
away.
job. Okay. I thought we were saying he dies and then they go and do the Act 3.
No. He dies at the
he
end.
He dies in Act 3. That's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
I said that from the beginning of the episode. He dies in Act 3.
No, okay. Thank you.
I
got that.
Play it back. Play it back.
You did. But when we were talking right there, you're like, oh, yeah, we're at the midpoint. And then those two have their conversation. And then these three go pull a job. And I was like, all right, well, okay. Well, then why are they
No,
staying?
I just said they Rory and Ronan get together at the midpoint.
Yeah.
That's where you put them together. That's the only midpoint talking I was talking about.
All right. So we're at the midpoint there together. I think we got the rest of the movie. I like that. Because then what we're going to do is that I'm thinking they have this big blow up. They're there. They haven't left yet because Ronan won't let them leave. He's like, I got to go talk to my sister again. And I think they have another conversation. They meet up in like a cafe or something. Because I want this to be like a little civilized conversation. And his sister basically goes, you're mercenaries, aren't you? I'll pay you. And then the rest of the group hears that.
This is what you do to help.
So then Ronan agrees to help it because it's his sister. The other three are like, let's make sure we line our pockets, you know.
We hungry.
And then they do the job, which is basically like, we take out these strategic parts right here, this military base, this air defense system, and this monitoring system, and they're crippled. So we got 3 different targets. You know, Xander's with a couple of people from the rebellion crew.
And it could be that they have Devotonium reserves at all 3 of those places.
Yeah.
And they're just going to blow up those reserves. Like, maybe they don't realize how they realize it's volatile. But, like, these people have grown up. They're the indigenous. They know what, to do.
Maybe there's like a catalyst that the indigenous people know that will really set it off. Like some sort of element or combination.
Like they've only learned how to take 10% of the power. The indigenous people know how to make it go. It's like we didn't tell them all of our secrets.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So basically the job, we come to a job briefing room. We have maps. We have like, here's your catalyst. You put this on the Devotonium and it's going to explode. Then we're going to take out these targets. We split into teams. Xander and a couple of the people. Roy goes like, I'm going to go with you, Xander. And Xander pushes her away. No, you're not. Man, I got this. You're not my mom. All right. I can go take care of this.
And like they throughout the movie have been a struggle of she's still treating him like her younger brother and not like a man. And he's like, let me do this. You never like, you always got to be there to watch over me and make sure I'm doing the right thing. So then she's like, finally, like, all right, I'll let you go.
Let you go. Yeah.
She thinks she's doing the right thing. Meanwhile, she should have been there to stop him.
I think they do. Our crew has to have comms, like separate comms, because I think there has to be a basically point, like, he's got Devotonium, and they're like, fucking drop it, and he doesn't, and then they blow up. Okay, then do we have to have a big fight sequence? I don't think we need another fight sequence with Ronan going one-on-one with anybody else.
Rather than fighting in this one. Explosion and then danger, like with the collapsing, and they have to like get out and.
I mean, we can do like a couple of fight work when the infiltration, taking out some security guards or like a big beefy guy or something that we introduced earlier, and Ronan takes him out. But then they set the catalyst, they get out of there. Joyride and Thaddeus take a couple, Xander takes a couple, and then I think Joyride or Thaddeus has to be with Ronan and Rory because they have to see them taking me like, what are you doing? And like, oh yeah, three of us decide, we're gonna take a couple because we hungry, and they're like, "You're gonna die, stop it!" And like that's where they get on the comms, and then Joyride drops it, but Xander doesn't. So
I'm thinking there's like a grove where the indigenous people, there's like a hidden grove that still is lush and unburnt and everything, and that's where like their camp and meeting point is.
Yeah,
because in the end, the sister has to stay. She's got to rebuild.
Yeah,
but this can now be like a welcome home for them if they ever did need a place to settle down. And maybe we'll see it in 6, them settling down for a little bit here or something until they get pulled back away.
6, yeah, because that's the end of the next trilogy. Yeah. Okay. All right. I think we got it. And then
we
at
first
the end,
need a sister's name, and Icy came to mind. I don't know why. Yeah.
Spell it. ICE or ICY?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Icy.
I don't know why, but it just came to mind. So I think that's really the only character we really introduce.
Yeah, we got Icy.
I mean,
Icy's got a couple of revolutionary friends, Beret Man, and
we're gonna meet the
twirler.
The rulers too. They're just gonna be older version of like the people from the flashback.
Yeah, they don't.
And
the only thing is, what are we doing about her husband? Blowing up?
No, I think he's a coward, and he like actually like loves her, and he's like, no, I didn't want to do what my parents would do. I was born into this. It wasn't my choice. Like, I'm totally, like, he's kind of like, I think they actually do have a relationship.
Okay.
As
maybe
crazy
he gives
as it
maybe
is.
he gives her the last piece of information she needs or something like that.
Yeah,
like he follows her. He follows her to the last revolutionary meeting or something, and everybody's freaked out.
And I think it's like, she's freaked out that he's gonna be whatever, but even though it was an arranged marriage, they like grew up together. They spent they're best friends as well, and he's like, I love you, so I'm down for the cause type thing. As long as we don't kill anyone. And they're like, no, we're just gonna shut down everything. It's like, all right, I mean, fine.
I mean, they are gonna murder hundreds of people.
Know that he doesn't need to know that. Let him be innocent. And they're like, it was successful and no one died. And they're like, exactly, no one died.
We hit the fire alarm before we did anything, and everybody got out. Okay, all right. So he's more of like a naive, nice person. And then he helps.
Nev.
His name is Nev. Okay. All right. Are we going with Cosmic Death?
I was thinking Cosmic War or something. I don't know, because Cosmic Death definitely gives it away.
But I think we gotta save Cosmic War for 11.
But isn't Cosmic Death right up there in 9? We're getting heavy real quick. Maybe Cosmic Freedom, or
Cosmic Revolution, Cosmic Resistance,
Cosmic
Revolt. I like that. Let's go with that. Cosmic Revolt.
All right. So, the Architects of Lore original idea, the 3rd installment in the first arc of the Cosmic Void franchise, Cosmic Revolt.
We start off with a flashback sequence of this beautiful, lush, green, verde planet, and 2 younger people playing together, a brother and a sister, and we realize that this is young Ronan, and this must be his sister that we've heard all about. And we're like, oh, what are they doing? And Ronan's a jokester, playing jokes on his little sister, having fun, laughing, smiling.
A side we haven't seen before.
But then in the distance, we see dark storm clouds and ships approaching, and Ronan is pulled awake from his dream. And he's on the ship.
Joyride is at the control. Xander and her are having a flirty moment. Rory's in the galley making breakfast, and Thaddeus is complaining that they haven't been paid in a while.
And this is the 18th planet that we have scoured from this compass of Devotonium, and it's still not it. Frustrations turn high. Rory defends Ronan a little bit until Thaddeus,
without giving away his secret.
Exactly. And Thaddeus like,
he's finally going to have to tell the crew when they get there, but not until after they get there.
Yeah, they're like, what are we doing this for? And also, what are we even looking for? And that's when Ronan, because of his flashback, remembers that there's a red twin planet with a ring around it in the sky. That narrows it down very much. And they find the planet.
They get there. When they hit the ground, Ronan reveals they're looking for someone. He describes who it is. Boom. Xander finds a poster with that lady. She is the leader of the planet.
You mean
there's a
this
gala
person? Princess
for her?
Icy? There's a gala.
They plan to infiltrate the gala by being waiters. Twist, all the waiters are robots, and they have to reprogram a robot to get the princess on her own, Icy on her own.
Hilarious results. The robot is now part of the crew, and his name is Robot. Or Roby.
Roby
the robot. Roby the robot. Roby follows
come
Icy.
Up with a better nickname? Don't worry about
it. Roby follows Icy, and at first we think like she's fully indoctrinized, part of the ruling family, but then later, when we follow her, when she goes on her own, we learn that she is actually secretly living a double life as a revolutionary leader. And her and Ronan have their first face-to-face in 15 years. Ronan grabs his sister. He says, I told you I'd come back. Let's go. My ship is close. We can get out of here.
She says, I can't leave these people. You're the one who leaves. He's like, I'm back now. Just to leave again. She throws it in his face.
Twice. Double.
They go, Ronan and the crew go back to the ship. They have a little discussion. He decides he's going to meet with his sister once more. It's in a cafe.
It's fine. There's baguettes. There's, coffee drinks and whatnot, and they sit down.
The rest of the crew is listening in on their comms.
And Ronan
Icy
doesn't
offers them money because they're mercenaries in order to help. And the rest of the crew is like, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. We hungry.
We hungry.
So they come into the revolutionary circle. And spoiler alert, Icy's husband shows up with the last piece of information. And everybody's freaking out. But then we realize that he's kind of naive and pretty cool. And he's like, hey, I was born into this. I love my wife. If this is going to help save the planet, we're not going to hurt anybody. We're just going to free people, right? They're like,
this is the only home I know. Everyone should be free.
Yeah. So they devise a plan to hit 3 targets at once, and they get this catalyst that only the indigenous people know about to hit the Devotonium stores at these 3 strategic targets at the same time to cripple the corporation's hold on the planet.
Blow them up. Rory says she's going to go with Xander, but Xander stops her and says, let me live my life. Let me be a man. So he goes off with Thaddeus and Joyride. They have a plan to steal some Devotonium.
Let's just say that their pockets aren't going to be light after this.
No.
So all the infiltration goes off without a hitch. They run into security. They beat him down. It's fine. They plant the catalyst and they get out of there. But Ronan and Rory catch Thaddeus lying in his pockets with Devotonium. And they've realized the plan that the other 3 had, realized that the Devotonium is connected to the catalyst and it's going to blow everybody up. So they get on the comms and they tell these people that they can tell Joyride and Xander they got to drop their Devotonium. Joyride does because she trusts Thaddeus, but Xander, in his rebellious and stubborn streak, does not. And
he's hungry.
Unfortunately, as they're getting away, Xander's ride blows up. Xander's gone.
Rory witnesses it from afar.
In the air.
It's brutal.
But the mission is a success. The corporation has been crippled and the indigenous people have taken their planet back. Ronan.
With Icy in the lead, like she was before. She's still a queen. And her husband, Nev, right by her side, thinking no one died.
No one got hurt.
And that everyone from the corporation just transferred to other places because operations have been shut down indefinitely on this planet.
Exactly. He's really nice about it. And we have a heartbreaking final scene where Rory says that she can't stay on Big Livin'. And we see her leave on a different ship.
The crew goes off on another adventure. They always have a home at this planet. Credits roll. And then, on a dark sky, 1 ship, 2 ship, 3 ship, 4 ship, 5 ships, thousands of ships show up. And they don't look like anything we've ever seen before. We go into the cockpit, and those same green alien species that the bodyguard from 2 was are coming, and they don't look happy. That's Cosmic Revolt, baby!
That's Cosmic Revolt, an Architects Lore original idea. If you like that idea and this franchise, please remember, listen each week, because the story's just going to get wilder from here. Devin.
Let us know what you think. You can email us at architectslore@gmail.com. Speaking of which, we do have an email from Nathaniel, and he says, I actually watched the movie this week. The Fast and the Furious is inferior to Gone in 60 Seconds. Is there a movie in the Fast and Furious franchise that is as good as Gone in 60 Seconds? I think you'll have your answer next week, Nate, when we watch Fast 5. The heat is turned up, baby. We are going to the moon. And you know who's going to meet us there? Dwayne Johnson. Get fucking ready, baby.
Wait. Are we going to the moon next movie?
No.
Oh, okay. I was being like, that's a huge jump.
No.
All right, but listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I watch Fast 5, which you are telling me is a good movie in this franchise.
Yes, it is.
And I don't see Han, and I don't see Roman Pierce, I'm going to come to Los Angeles, and I'm going to punch you in the face.
Me?
Yeah.
I didn't write these movies.
You told me that Roman's going to be a staple in this franchise. I've seen him in 1 movie. I haven't seen him since. You said Han's a great
Look
character.
at you missing Roman. You're a Roman guy, aren't you? You love Roman.
I want the comedy. Like, I think this movie was too dour. I want a little comedy, a little levity. And Roman Pierce.
I don't think Fast 5 is going to disappoint. Strap in.
Okay.
Strap in.
Okay. If I don't have Rome and I don't have Han, it's just going to get wild. All right? I'm telling you that right now. So obviously, folks, we're watching Fast 5 next week. Make sure to watch it before next week's show, or don't. Again, you can still watch the episode without watching the movies. It's fine, but it'll be funner.
Watch Fast 5. Don't fucking listen unless you watch Fast 5.
No, please listen.
Phenomenal,
please
bro.
Listen. All right. Well, Devin,
check out all our clips on Instagram, X, and TikTok, and YouTube.
YouTube Shorts. Posting every day, except probably not Sundays anymore, but every other day.
God's Day.
All right. Well, Devin, thank you so much for joining me. I think that we wrapped up this first trilogy pretty well.
Yeah. Cosmic Void, Cosmic Heist, and Cosmic Revolt. They're all going to probably have some form of cosmic in them.
Oh, 100%.
But we did a great job with these first 3. And don't worry. The characters will return in Cosmic 4. We just don't know the title of it yet.
We don't know the title.
It might be Cosmic 4.
Maybe Cosmic 4. All right. Well, Devin, thank you so much for joining me. Audience, thank you so much for listening. And just remember, there's a story in your head, but you can't seem to get it out.
Do it.
Just fucking do it. Because if it sucks, who cares? That's what it is. Good night, everybody.
Bye.